Empire.
Welcome to the latest edition of AlzCaps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzner. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. Later, we are joined by newest Capitals goaltender Charlie Lindgren. He doesn't have any Karl stories because there are no great Karl stories, apparently. Karl, I'm going to find out eventually a story about you that's not squeaky clean.
Well, I'll tell you, the only people that would have any stories would be Weidman and Hendricks, probably, maybe,
and they weren't willing to share them.
Yes, exactly. Because I guess I don't need to elaborate on that, but Carly might as well. But yeah, like I said, for the most part, I was always the guy that it's hard to explain. I'd always be watching out for my guys, right? Because I knew how important things were. If you messed up or did something stupid in public, like we all look dumb, right? So I've always been that guy that just makes sure that everybody's good. If something seems to be going sideways, then my night stops. And I'm waiting to see if I can help. Taking tons of guys home from rookie parties, and then my rookie parties is over too. So it's, it doesn't sound like fun, but someone needs to do it. Otherwise, things just turn sideways.
Was it Pace who woke up like next to a hotel, like outside a bar?
Yeah, he woke up on the patio of the hotel, beside his hotel, having no idea where he was. Yeah.
That's a great story. I actually texted Pace yesterday because my book just came in the mail. Yes. I'm going to go get this. Because I need to do some advertising.
So sweet. Everybody's going to grab a copy of this right now. Well, I guess not right now.
October 25th. If you're listening, Odd Man In, Hockey's Emergency Goalies, and the Wildest One-Day Job in Sports on Triumph Publishing. I got my first author's copy in the mail the other day. It's cool. Like I don't want to go too egotistical here, but I wrote a friggin' book. Stretch, Brett Leonhardt, the Caps video coach, is involved in this. It was very helpful for the book because he dressed in that one game for warm-ups and dressed in another game later, in his video coaching office, had the gear on and everything. So it's cool. I'm psyched about it.
Yeah, you should be proud too. Everything I hear about writing a book is it's painful and
it's hard, man.
It takes forever and there's so much, checking and editing and this and that. So you should be very proud of that. And you'll see it on the shelf for sure because it's nice red, like the gold light red, right?
It is beautiful. It'll stick out. October 25th, we'll be having some book events and maybe at Aslan Brewery and some other things. We'll be doing some things. Before that, the Capitals are going to be playing hockey games. And as we kind of look ahead to the season, my great friend Ben Raby, who actually was the one who helped me get this book together, works for the Hockey News Yearbook, did the preview, and this had nothing to do with him. So let's start with that. But the Hockey News Yearbook came out, and it ranks the Capitals 6th in the Metropolitan Division, behind the New York Islanders, behind the Columbus Blue Jackets, and missing the playoffs. Now, no disrespect to anyone who made that prediction. I just think they're very wrong. I'm curious your thoughts, Karl, on this. Even without Nick Backstrom for however long, even without Tom Wilson for the first 3 months of the year, we've talked about Brian McClellan's offseason. I think he did everything right. I think he did everything right for this year to make sure, as Ovi said many years ago, we're not going to suck this year. I think this team isn't. I think this is a good team with better goaltending than last year, and enough pieces with a Connor Brown and Dylan Strome to make up for losing Nick and Tom.
I agree. I'm when I think about that, I'm trying to go through my head what is the reason for that, and it's obviously the Nick and Tom thing.
Sure.
And maybe some of the other core players getting a little bit older. Sure, but it is a big upgrade in net, right? I think we can all agree on that. And the players that were brought in are really great players that were on some bad teams that weren't doing so good. So everybody kind of, looks a little less sexy on a team like that. I don't see that. And there's something to be said. There's a new coach too in Long Island. You never know exactly.
Lane, we know what Lane is, but we don't know what Lane is like as a head coach.
Exactly. You have no idea how to really see how a team's going to play until they actually get out there. So it's interesting having the Islanders in front of them. Like you said, Lane is a great guy and a great coach, but it's tough to move into that position. I just don't. I don't really agree with that as well. I think that there definitely are some teams that are better, but the Caps are one of those teams that just always find a way.
Oh yeah.
As long as you have Obi there, you have Kuzi there, you have a pretty darn good supporting cast. As long as you have those guys, healthy and in the lineup, I don't see them getting bumped out of the playoffs. I'd be shocked if they were bumped out of the playoffs.
Look, anything can happen. Like you get injuries during a year. Like even with the Islanders last year in Barry's final year there, like they had injuries and the COVID stuff, and like just things went sideways for them very quickly. Anything can happen. I just think the moves that Brian made in the offseason make this team capable of handling not having Tom. And Nick, what he was playing last season, what was he, 65% healthy? Like even that. I love Dylan Strome. I've known Dylan since he was played in Erie with Connor McDavid, and so I go back with him a while. We've all know kind of his shortcoming might be skating, but we know what he can do on the power play, just his offensive skills, and he's become a better two-way player too. I don't see what it is in the Islanders offseason and the Capitals' kind of track record that leads you to believe that the Capitals are the sixth best team in this division.
Exactly, and then maybe we look at Columbus and we look at what Columbus did. Did they do that much to
Johnny Gaudreau? Sure.
Yeah. So it's pretty much just one guy? Like is the one guy enough to completely change that organization? It's hard to say. It's we'll have to wait to see how everybody is. Like it's a big transition to go from Calgary to Columbus, and it might take a little time for him to feel comfortable. Although he does have a good friend on the team, so that does help. But I don't know. I just I'm not sold on that. I'd like it's hard to do a preseason ranking. I would imagine to figure out. But still, I don't know. I think you got to give the Caps maybe a little bit more credit. But I don't know. I mean, this is not somewhere where I specialize. I always like to wait and see the teams play and see how they play before I make an opinion. But I don't think it's something to really worry too much about. I think Washington's going to be very fun to watch and definitely competitive.
And I'm not trying to sound like a homer here either. Like just because we're around this team and know these guys very well, I just look on paper and think, look, you can see the Flyers are going to stink. You can see the Devils aren't ready yet. And look, the Caps might be better than the Penguins. I still think there's a chance with the questionable goaltending situation in Pittsburgh. The thing is, Mike Sullivan's a great coach. Todd Reardon's a great assistant, and they get a lot out of whoever is playing. But the Penguins are getting older, just like the Caps are.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the you can make the exact same argument for Pittsburgh, right? That someone's making for the Caps, but those guys have some older players that are prone to injury. For them it definitely could turn and they could be towards the bottom as well. It's just I don't know. It's this. I'm excited just to see how the Caps come out and play because, like you said, some of these new guys, like they go out there and buzz. Like they could be the Caps could turn into a very hard team to play against, and not in the traditional sense where they go out and score a ton of goals and they're just super high powered offensively. But because they got players that can go out there and really grind you down, right? I think that would be that's fun hockey to watch. And I like I've said this a bunch of times now. I'm very excited to see Connor Brown play with this team. I think that he's going to be a great addition and he's going to win over a lot of fans very, very fast. So like you said, Mac did a good job, and it'll be nice when training camp starts. You get to see everybody out there again because I always think it's one of the more exciting times of the year. Although it isn't very fun being in training camp, it's still fun to see everybody on the ice again.
September 22nd, first day on ice of Capitals training camp. I believe will be open to the public. I believe no masks involved, but we have a few more podcasts until then. Next up on AlzCaps, we'll be joined by newest Capitals goaltender Charlie Lindgren. Welcome back to AlzCaps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzner. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. We are happy to be joined by new Capitals goaltender Charlie Lindgren, who is a Karl Alzner boy, as we talked about on this podcast, one of Karl's guys. Charlie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, I'm going to let Karl have a bunch of this. I'm just curious, and I know we chatted with you a little bit kind of earlier this summer, but what led you to the Capitals and coming here in this job? I know the team sees a lot of kind of potential in you.
Yeah, I mean, I've always heard really good things about the organization. I remember Alzy talking about his time there. I'm good buddies with Nick Dowd and Nick Jensen. They've always spoke very highly of Washington, the organization, and just the living as a whole. And And so when they came calling, they were certainly a team that really jumped out, and I knew that was a spot that I definitely could see myself being at, and I couldn't be more thrilled.
I'm always curious what other people think, because like watched my first team, so I didn't really know any different. But you always have like an idea of what a team is like. Like for me, for example, I always thought that LA was kind of like a cool team. Like the guys on the team seemed cool. It was a neat city. I thought San Jose was just a team that was always so hard to play against. I had like these perceptions of what that team was like. For you, like what's your idea of the Capitals? Because I'm curious from another player from the outside what they think of the team.
Well, I mean, you look at my view of the Capitals is you look at the last 15 years. I mean, they're a team that's always been competitive. I mean, it starts with obviously Ovechkin and Nicholas Backstrom and TJ Oshie and Carlson. I mean, there's a lot of big names there, and with Montreal, I was fortunate enough to travel on the road to Washington a couple times, and it's just a heck of a city. It's a lot of fun seeing the different monuments. I'm a fan of U.S. history and all that, so obviously just a very cool environment. So like I said, when they came calling, I mean, that was a team that definitely I was definitely excited about.
When you get on the ice, when are you planning to be on the ice in DC? Are you looking forward to Karl jumping on the ice with you?
Absolutely, I am. I'm very excited. It's been a while, Halsey. I'm taking off for DC tomorrow. So me and my pup, we're going to be driving out, and then I don't think there's ice on Monday. So I think my first time on the ice with in Arlington will be on Tuesday.
Well, shoot, if you get in before 8 p.m., I got a men's league game for you. We'd love to have you. It's our last game before playoffs. So
right on. Well, maybe we'll make that happen. That'd be nice.
So good. We were trying to stay under 100 goals against for the season, and I wasn't there last week, and I think that they got 7 or 8 scored against them, so they're at 102 now.
Ooh,
so okay. The dream is over. But yeah, it's all right.
Well, Karl, you're better at keeping the goals out than putting the goals in. So that's.
Yes, absolutely. I go out there with the goalies as a confidence builder, because I like to just shoot it straight into the pad, right into the glove, stomach a lot. It's kind of one of my favorites. So goalie coaches like me out there for that. But this is another thing I'm very curious about, because, it's just, I have guys around the league that I'm always so curious, like, what's that guy like? Like Crosby, for example. I played against him, closely for so many years, and Webb's, Shea Weber would say that he's a great guy, and Eric Ferris said he's a great guy. And I'm like, no, I can't believe that. He can't be a great guy, but enough people vouch for someone. You're like, okay, I guess I need to believe you. But of all the guys on the roster that you can think of off the top of your head, is there anyone you're really excited to see what they're like as a person? And then who do you want to see up close? Because when you get to see, like, for me, for example, Jonathan Drouin, I didn't realize how good his hands were, until I actually got to see it, in the flesh, see how calm Pricey is, things like that. Who are the guys that come to mind when you think of, I need to know what they're like as a person, and I want to see them on the ice?
Well, I think obviously who comes to mind is number 8. I mean, I'm really excited. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to meet him and see what he's all about. I've heard really good things, and certainly one of the best hockey players of all time. And obviously a lot of people, once I sign, they're like, you're gonna have a lot of fun with him in practice, which I'm sure I will. So. But yeah, I'm excited to meet him for sure. And then, a guy like TJ Oshie, who, I think he spends a good amount of time in Minnesota. I haven't really I don't think I've ever met him personally. So, but when I signed with Washington, he reached out to me and sent me a text, which I've always, had a lot of respect for guys like that. So, and I've heard awesome things about him too. So, but yeah, I mean, you go up and down the lineup. I mean, it looks like a great group of guys. I've heard, seriously, I've heard it's a heck of a dressing room, just a lot of great guys on the team. And, as a newcomer, I mean, that certainly makes you feel good. Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Room is very good. I'll give you one piece of advice on the power play penalty kill practice. Yeah. First or second shot, Ovi always goes clapper top corner. Okay. So just maybe be ready. Stay up on that, maybe. Maybe stay up on that challenge. He's not afraid to let that one go. And Grubauer was always there, and he'd always
like Ovi, a lot of times he can pick the corner, he'd go bar down, and I would always turn to Groovy and be like, man, you need to stop that. And
Yeah.
Groovy would get so pissed off. So just be aware, he's not going to hold back on that shot. It's a little bit crazy. And then as for people, very curious, check in with you like a few months down the road, getting to know Tom Wilson, because he's one of those guys that, you know, a lot of people don't really like him around the league as players and as fans. And then I think
Yeah.
you'll have it'll be interesting for you to get to know him, because he's kind of he's a little bit of a polarizing player around the league.
100%. No, I'm very excited to meet him too. So that'll be good.
Yeah, and no, Tom's a great guy. It's a great room, and you're going to fit in mustache and all in that room. What I like to ask everybody before Carl gets his questions in later: do you have a Carl Alzner story? Is there, other than he's a great guy, he's a great teammate? I always try to uncover dirt on Carl, and it doesn't seem like he's anything but squeaky clean.
Man, Alzie's pretty squeaky clean. I mean, obviously spent a lot of time with him and Laval. And yeah, he was just a steady Eddie, just really good teammate.
Did he buy you guys dinners in Laval?
Alzie, did you? I don't know.
I bought a couple guys dinner, but usually smaller groups, and then a Halloween party. Were you there for the Halloween party at the golf place?
Yep, I was there. Yep.
Yeah, so we did. I did a couple
that day.
Yeah, a couple things. Wino.
Yeah,
I mean,
No, I know, because I remember you saying you had the money you weren't paying into escrow. So I was hoping you bought Charlie a couple steaks.
That was going to my swimming pool fund.
Right.
There we go. Yeah.
But that's okay. So hold on. Before we get off that subject to move on to stupid questions, I'm just curious about, like, I've talked about it a few times on here, time in Montreal. I'm curious looking back on it, your time in Montreal versus St. Louis, like, you know, what'd you think were, you know, good differences? What did you like better, I guess, in the two cities? Because, you know, I didn't have a great experience in Montreal. So I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I'm just curious, you know, from your standpoint, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's, unfortunately, I spent 6 years with Montreal, 5 or 6 years with Montreal, and, you know, I had a lot of good times there, but then I think kind of like you're speaking of, there were some times where it was certainly difficult. Unfortunately, the last year there kind of paints a bad image in my mind, just with COVID going on and the taxi squad and all that. It was just a really tough year, but certainly met a lot of really good people in that organization, and, you know, the fans playing at the Bell Center. Those are memories that I'll certainly never forget. And then going to St. Louis, it was super excited about that opportunity, and being a kid from Minnesota, St. Louis isn't too far. Being back in the States was kind of nice for me personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, St. Louis was a phenomenal sports town. Really good locker room there, a lot of really good guys, and it's a well-run team and organization. So I had a blast there.
Did you find that you were able to just be more relaxed living in St. Louis, playing in St. Louis?
I think so. Yeah. I think, I felt like I could just go out and play, and, it's just completely different than Montreal. I feel like it's on the complete opposite spectrum. But, both places, I can look back and say I was proud to be a Canadian. I was proud to be a Blue for a short time. So, but I'll tell you, I couldn't be more excited to be a Capital. So I think that's definitely what I'm most excited about.
Well said. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, Wino. There you have it, right? You have so much stuff you're thinking about playing in Montreal that you just don't have in a lot of other places. So it's a tough spot to be, but I think it's well said.
As I've said, you get ripped in 2 languages.
Yes, yes, you do.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been there.
And then the DC, we're not too, we don't bite in DC, which is good. Since I'm a dog guy, I think we're all dog people. What's your dog's name? And are you aware that the Capitals do a canine calendar? So there'll be a whole photo shoot at some point.
I think I got a text about that a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, my dog, his name's Riley. He's half lab, half Australian Shepherd, and he's certainly my best buddy. He's been a great addition to our family, and he's a really good dog. So he's gonna be riding shotgun on the way to DC with me. So I'm excited about that.
Can't we? So I don't know how long that drive is. 20 hours. What is your?
I looked it up on maps. It's 16 and a half.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah. So actually, Nick Dowd's heading out tomorrow as well. He's I think he said he's going to head out around 6. He's going to do it all in one shot. I'm gonna, I'll try to probably crank out 10 tomorrow and then like 6.5 the next day, and then on Sunday I need to go get myself a mattress. So that's job number 1 once I get to Arlington.
Before Karl has his questions, what's your road trip music? Do you listen to podcasts? Is there jams? Like I did, like what's your kind of for that long a trip?
There's a outdoor podcast that I listen to in Minnesota. It airs on, you can podcast it, but it's Saturday morning radio. So that's an hour and a half of my time. So I listen to that. And then I'm a country music guy. So that's kind of what I listen to. I like all sorts of music, but I certainly find myself listening to country more often than not.
An outdoor podcast, clearly from Minnesota, if that's what you're listening to.
Exactly. Yeah. So it makes it, whenever I'm missing home a little bit, it brings me back. So it's a great podcast.
We pride ourselves on being an indoor podcast here, but glad you enjoy that. When we come back on AlzCaps, Charlie Lindgren will be the latest victim of Karl's stupid questions. Welcome back to AlzCaps, former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzner and newest Capitals goaltender Charlie Lindgren. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino, and now for Karl's favorite portion of the show, Karl's stupid questions.
All right, Chuck, here we go. As I have a kid running around. See, there's always background
It's dogs, totally fine.
Yeah, I got the dogs. I can hear them.
All right, stupid questions. First question for you is, I said this last time too. It's in honor of House of Dragons that started 2 weeks ago. What's your all-time favorite TV series?
Boy, I would say The Office or One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that. Very interesting. Okay, so it's worth a watch, I guess. Okay, question 2. Of all the, let's just say pregame routines, rituals, what's one of them that you couldn't live without? You just have to do all the time. Like otherwise your head would just be somewhere else.
Probably tape my stick. I'd say that's probably one that I have to do before every game.
It's got to be the right way. I totally get
that. Yeah.
Mine are the ones that happen like right before the game, warm up or as you get on the ice for the anthem, because that's when I actually feel like I'm in the zone. Goalies maybe a little different. You guys prepare different, but if I don't do that, my turning the right way, get on the line the right way, then my head is just
filter.
Oh yeah. If they ask me to do an interview right before, that's just game over. First period is a write-off for me. Yeah. It's so stupid, but it's the truth. Why?
Dude, your superstitions and pregame rituals were out of control.
Hey, I'm by the book, man. Everything, even my games now, I still have to do it the same way.
Well, yeah, you don't have to deal with a pregame interview this time.
That's very true. All right, best player you've played with so far?
I'd say Carey Price.
Yeah,
I'd say Carey Price. I think obviously we all know, and Alzi, just a heck of a goalie, and you could say even better guy. So Carey Price for sure. What
do you think it is that makes him so good? Like what is it about Pricey?
He's just got the best demeanor. I mean, he just it's like he never gets rattled, and he's always in position. And that's something that I certainly when I came out of college, I was a little bit more acrobatic and wild, and I've certainly found myself toning it back a little bit, and I credit a lot of that to watching Pricer and spending a lot of time with him.
Yeah, well, I will say you make some saves sometimes. I'm just like, how the heck did you get to that puck? So you still got it in you. So
yeah, for sure.
Caps fans will see that.
Let's take this occasion to say all the best to Carey Price. It doesn't sound like he's going to be playing this season. Ken Hughes said this, but all the best to Carey and his family. We're fortunate to have his wife on this podcast before. So all the best to him, and hoping he can get back on the ice eventually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun to watch. All right. What's your go-to breakfast? Favorite breakfast that you like to have?
Eggs, bacon, and peanut butter English muffin. Then I always have a smoothie. So strawberry, banana, peanut butter, spinach, granola, and Fairlife chocolate milk with a black coffee. So that's my morning right there.
Holy, let's go through this for a sec. How many eggs?
I usually do 3 eggs.
How do you cook them?
Sunny side up traditionally.
Wow. And
Yeah.
okay, but you and on your English muffin you put peanut butter, so you don't dip anything into the eggs.
No, don't dip anything into the eggs. I'll just put some pepper on the eggs. That's it.
Little
So,
pepper, bacon,
yeah, bacon. Usually have 3 strips of bacon. So,
and a smoothie
and a smoothie. Yeah,
and a coffee.
and a coffee.
Holy smokes! How long does that take you to eat?
It takes me probably about 40, 45 minutes.
And you're not working out right after that. You got to let that settle, right?
Well, I'm working out right after, so I think my body's just used to it. You know, I haven't had any problems, and yeah, I have a big breakfast, and I'm fortunate enough where I can't seem to put on weight, so I kind of stay right around 180. So no matter what I eat, it doesn't go up from there. So
Wow, that is crazy. I'll take a quick second here to let you know I'm doing a cleanse right now, so I'm super tired. I'm doing 1,000 calories a day.
really,
And yeah, that's it. I'm freaking living off of like vegetable broth and a water smoothie. Like a smoothie, I say water smoothie because it tastes just like ice. It's like ice and like a little dehydrated stuff. It is awful. I'm so tired right now. I don't recommend it, but
is that considered like a fast then, or is that a fast like nothing?
yeah, fast would be nothing. So this is something, but it's nowhere near enough. And I'm doing my best. I need a water jug like yours to fill my stomach. So hearing about your breakfast makes me a little bit excited.
Yeah.
Okay. This is one I like to ask any of the players. Would you rather play 5 years in the NHL and win? So in your case, you're the starting goalie 5 years and win a cup, or 15 years, still be a starting goalie, but never win, not even a finals.
That's tough. I would say 5 years and win a cup though. I think Ozzy, that's what we all dream of is from 5 years old, it's winning a Stanley Cup. It's all I want to do. And I think if I were to win a Stanley Cup, I'd be incredibly proud. So I'd say that's the right answer for me on that one.
Yeah. Why not? What do you think so far? Like, is it kind of split what we have?
It's really split, and it's different, Charlie, because you might be able to do both. You might be able to play 15 years and win a cup still. And talking to guys like Dennis Weidman, even Alexei was closer to the first one, where he played kind of 5 or 6 years in the league, won a championship, was a Black Ace on that Penguins team, and now still kind of has a happy life, stays in hockey. It's split, but like even when I talk to people outside of hockey about it, you're like, would you rather like have that consistent paycheck and be in something that long? It's not an easy one.
No.
Yeah, I guess bringing up the paycheck too. I mean, I guess you got to take that in consideration too.
That's what Carl's asked that question with the paycheck element before.
Yeah, because besides hockey, I don't know, Alzzy. I don't know what else I got going for me. So
hunting show.
Maybe that would change my answer. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's
like
the Carl's thing? Personal trainer.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think about that. You won't get paid after. Connor McMichael said, he couldn't imagine only being able to play hockey for 5 years,
right?
And then being done. There's a lot of ways to go with it. I don't know what the right answer is. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a good question.
I think it differs.
Dumb questions doesn't mean they're not hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Last one for you here is, if you could be the face of any company, you're their spokesperson, what company is that?
Any company.
Is it Yeti? Is it a special bow that you like?
Wasn't yours a watch, Carl?
I would love to be a Rolex or a Richard Mille spokesperson. I think that would be dynamite.
Boy, that's a tough one. Any company. I'd say probably like the face of a dog rescuing company. Maybe it would be my answer. Yes. So, big fan of dogs. Yeah, I'll say that's maybe the right answer for me.
That's a great answer too. That gives you a couple extra points right
there.
Good.
Wes Martin, who's plays for the Commanders, offensive lineman, actually started a dog rescue in Ohio.
Oh, really?
Brave Breed Rescue. Yeah.
Cool.
So he and his wife and it came like from his mom growing up and all that, big time into the dog rescue stuff.
Yeah. That's what our dog Riley, he was a rescue. And so, yeah, I think me and my wife were, when we rescued him, and we were both pretty pretty happy with that whole process and being able to save a life.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Well, let me give you a quick total here, because you had a couple answers that I had never heard before, so it's intriguing. So just add this up. This brings you the massive breakfast. I mean, that is special.
You hungry now, Carl?
What's that?
You hungry now?
Oh, I'm starving. Yeah, I can't wait to go have another water smoothie when I'm done this. It's gonna be great. Chuck, that brings you up to 202 points total, which is anything over 200 is very, very solid in this book. And I will
top 10, right?
It's top 10. Yeah. I'll put you
top 10 all time.
Top 10 all time, buddy. And we've got over 30 people on here, so you should be very proud.
Very proud. Who's number one? I got to ask that.
It actually happened last week.
It was last week?
Yeah, it was last week that we did this.
Scott Abraham, local TV guy, you'll meet, who's he's a character. You'll see, you'll meet him in a couple of weeks. And he had every answer, because every answer like Carl would have answered.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. So
it was
Carl very similar.
Yeah, I was so weird. The things he was saying was just like, one of the answers was his guilty pleasure was flossing his teeth, like with those like little like picks. And I had one in my hand while I was asking him the questions, because I was in my car, and I'm like, this is freaking so weird. So he got almost full points on his round. But
what's like the most amount of points you can get?
Well, we don't really know. It changes.
Sky's the limit, I think.
You could have 1 million points, just depending on the day. So it's complete. Like I said, it is completely random. We started out with no one almost breaking 100, and now we're breaking 200, and we had a 475. So it's random. It's random.
It's like, whose line is it anyway? It's all made up, and the points don't matter.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. I'll have to come on again and take another crack at it.
Would love it.
I can't wait to take my crack at this at some point too. Charlie, have a safe trip to DC. We can't wait to see you in on the ice in Arlington either next week or a couple weeks later when training camp starts. Thanks for joining us on AlzCaps.
Thank you guys. Very excited.
Thanks,
everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.